Welcome back to the Ruby Tuesday. Please excuse the sun. I've tried to block it out, but it's found a gap and I can't block it out for now, so I'm going to be dodging the sunbeams. And while I'm talking about it, maybe I can illuminate myself and talk about the Winx Saga Season 2 and go, oh, I'm a fire fairy. So the Winx Season 2 non-spoiler review has 7 episodes, one more than Season 1, which had 6, but they're around about the same length, ranging from about 40 minutes to 55 minutes, depending on what story they need to tell within that. And the first season saw our main protagonist, Bloom, coming into the fairy academy like Hogwarts, and then learning to control the powers and learning that she is something more than the normal fairy. We saw her have her wings at the end of Season 1 and everybody went, ooh, ah. And if you are one of those young teens who followed the animation series, you'll kind of know where some of the plot story is going, but it's definitely doing its own thing. So in Season 2, we take on that, but we have a shift in who's in charge at the academy, because as we saw at the end, there was a death for one of our main characters, one of the ones that I really like. The burning ones, or the burnt ones, were kind of dealt with. And Season 2 has a new big bad in the form of a new headmaster. And I really like this character in this season. There's a lot of kind of growth. It starts off as I'm bad for bad's sake, and then we get to see little subtle nuances with our new character, who's also played by a new actor. For some reason, that character that was shown us in Season 1 at the end is now played by a different actor. There's no mention as to why, so that might take you out of it and going, hang on a minute, that doesn't look like the same person. Different actress, still fantastically done. And then obviously Bloom's character and her arc. I found her character the most annoying in this season. I found her character to be very selfishly written. There are moments where she does things for herself without consulting her friends that puts others in danger consistently throughout. Her wanting to, I'm going to do this on my own. And then it puts people in danger. And then while she's doing things on her own or not thinking about other people, because her character's written that way. So I can't blame the actress, that's just the writing. But I have to say, the rest of the season was fairly enjoyable because of the character moments where they have growth moments in characters, is what I like to say. And there's a lot of padding that way in this season. The arc itself is very over the top. It's always kind of driving the plot forward in Season 2, but there's a lot of teen drama in this. It's not surprising, that's what this is. The series focuses on a bunch of girls. We have our characters from Sky to Bloom. We have the princess to her friends. The plant users, the different various magic users like water users, have all of those elements that come into play, and when they learn to control them, they learn something more about themselves. That is definitely part of the arc that's in here. I quite like that. I keep expecting them to evolve like a Pokemon. That's always the way. It's a kind of similar anime trope that this series is taking, and that's fun because you want that to happen. At the same time, you have the warrior class who don't really use magic or don't use it in their fighting style, but hand-to-hand combat to stop an old enemy. And we had mention of them in Season 1, but the new enemy this time round is something that I didn't see coming. I should have seen it coming. For me, that's the most interesting part of this arc, is the latter half of this season. So if you manage to get through the first 3-4 episodes, 5, 6, 7 are the most interesting, because that's where they're concentrating the arc and they're kind of wrapping up the story from this one particular story that they've done. But don't think that it's wrapped up. I for some reason thought that this was going to be a wrapped up season and a wrapped up story, and that was going to be it. But there is more coming according to this story and arc. There's a lot more answers, and the way it leaves off would definitely have you going, oh, okay, so they're telling a different story now. I'm hoping that they stick to a darker storyline. Not that this didn't have its dark moments. There are creatures in here that reminded me of old horror movies, and I don't want to say what they are because it will give it away as to what those movies were, but I appreciated the darker moments, the gore that they allowed the season to kind of delve into. It's definitely more sweary, so they've gone more older teen for the demographic, lots more swear words, lots more gore, some sex and nudity. That's all part and parcel of this type of series that gets more seasons. They want to kind of take their audience from the establishing arc of, hey, this is a Hogwarts-esque fairy kingdom and it has its own rules and things to mess with, but we also go back to Earth. Interesting dynamic. And then season 2 has us established characters that are going through the drama llamas of just being a fairy, but also having to deal with the politics and the worlds that affect Earth and their kingdom. And when you clash that all together and then you start adding a new bad, it ends up for like a bit of a cauldron that goes toil and bubble, and things go wrong. And that's where the fun is. The fighting always looks good when it comes from the warriors, and I think that's a good thing. The choreograph for the most part is believable, and when it comes to the magic users, the way the ladies use the magic, the special effects within that I thought was pretty good, and the music and score always makes it feel like a more of an MTV CW network show, which is fine. I guess it connects with the audience demographic. And then the acting for the most part is okay. There's no one that will go, that's amazing, but there's also no one that I go, that's awful. It just is quite good. The thing that these 2 seasons have done is that they're characters that they make more interesting, that you want to follow, that they're right out of the story. For me, they've done that in season 2 as well. The characters I really like, that they're right out of the story, which is somewhat frustrating because, as I mentioned at the beginning, I think the weakest written character is the protagonist and her boyfriend. The story about Bloom and her being selfish as a character, but also the story focusing around her makes me go, oh, I just want to watch more of the other characters. For me, that is more interesting. However, I like the use of the magics, how they did that. The special effects look quite good, I thought. I know some people are going to go, what are you talking about? That looked rubbish. For me, I thought it was pretty good. I like the creature design, I like the monster design, I like the way they used it in conjunction with who they were. The addition to some new characters, changing up the group's dynamic, I thought that was fun to see how they would relate to that, how they would react to that. And the shifting in, I guess, group dynamics as in who's more popular, that is a drama llama thing that they like to write in there that I thought did quite well. So all in all, it's a good season of TV to watch. If you were into season 1, I think you'll be a little bit disappointed. There is some padding there. I don't think it needed that extra episode. Episode 6 feels like an exposition storyline to catch us up to everything that's going on, wrap up those loose ends, and then give us the action episode in 7. So episode 6 could have just been an extra long episode for 5 and a little bit long for 7, cutting out at least half of that episode. And that's why I think this series is lesser than season 1, but still enjoyable. If I'm going to give it a rating, I'd probably give it 3 Nicolas Cages out of 5 for season 2 and 3.5 for season 1.
How, in the name of Zeus's butthole?
I enjoyed season 1 more than I did season 2 because I feel like there's a lot of padding in season 2. Let me know your thoughts down below. Who's your favorite character? Who are you hoping to see transform into, their next evolution of Pokemon? Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long Tuesday.